All right, so this will be a video to go over, hopefully, the adding a child domain for my CIS-2650 class. I'll go ahead and get these things up and running. I've already logged into my vSphere and I brought up the assignment so that we can kind of take a look at that and then see if we can't make something happen. So what we're trying to do is cross-site child domain setup. So what we've done already, right? We've set up USA.local and whatever country. I think in my example I'm using Ireland.local, and we've set these up. This is what we did in lab yesterday, right? And the next thing we want to do is we want to set up on MBR2, we want to set up it as a child domain. And then on MBR1, we want to set up a child domain to Ireland, and MBR2, a child domain to USA. So in order to do that, we need to start with MBR2. So I'm going to go to MBR2 and see if we can't make this happen. All right, so MBR2, and it doesn't look like Server Manager is running on this at the moment. So I'm going to get Server Manager up and running. All right, and so this is on MBR2 Server Manager. Let's go to local server. Let's let these things populate. And then what I do want to do first is I want to go to my Ethernet settings. And I want to change the DNS settings. So we set up the DNS settings earlier in a previous assignment because it was based on the original setup was based on subnets, right? So we set this up at looking at DC 1-2 and then 8.8.8 as the internet-based DNS, right? So what I really want to do is I need to repoint it over here to USA local. So I really want this to be looking at 82 on my subnet, right? So my subnets are 82 and 83. So I'm going to change the DNS settings so that I'm pointed at, so MBR2 is pointed at DC 1-1, right? So that's the first thing we need to do to set up the computer for that purpose. The second thing I want to do is I want to add this server to the domain, right? So I'm going to go and add this to the USA domain. Right, so it should be asking for the USA administrator account. So if I set up the DNS and the DNS is looking right, it should see, and you can see that I've actually now connected and I can see the domain properly. So that's what I wanted to do with that change of I've got to restart. Yeah, so change of my IP address, my DNS record, right, to go to the right place. So I'm going to hit restart. I'm going to pause the video, wait for the restart to happen, and then we're going to come back and continue. All right, so it's rebooted. I'm going to go ahead and get logged in. Actually, I think let's do other user and do USA /administrator because I'm on that domain now. So get this logged in and we can look at doing the next steps. Okay, so far what I've done is on this MBR2, I changed the DNS record, the primary DNS server, to be pointed to DC1, which is the domain controller for USA.local. And then once that was done, I was able to add this server to the domain. So now it's a member server on the domain. Okay. So those are the first two steps we hope, right? Again, we're just we're going through this again. This is unscripted. I think you guys realize this, but I don't practice any of this ahead of time. And then you can see right here usa.local, right? So I'm on the domain. So now the next thing I need to get done on this computer is I need to actually install the Active Directory domain services roles. So role-based, and we're on MBR, and we are going to do ADDS, and we're going to add all the features. And next, and next, and next, and install. All right, so this only takes, it hasn't taken us very long in the past, so I will record through this, and if we need to pause, I'll pause and we'll come back. All right, so I did pause, and it's finished here. I'm gonna hit close. I'm gonna turn down my phone, and then we need to, right, so we need to promote to a domain controller. Okay, so now that we've done ADDS, we're going to promote, and we are going to add a new domain to an existing forest. We're going to choose child domain. The parent is usa.local, and the domain name, right, we're going to be really creative here and call it child. And right, we're going to use USA Administrator because that's our current user, so that's fine. And I'm going to click next. And so what this should be doing is over here we're creating this child.usa.local. That's a domain of its own. It's its own domain, and but it's underneath usa.local. Right, so so domain global. I love this because we did sites yesterday, and it's automatically knows because of its IP address that it's in the Galway site, so we're in good shape there. You need to add the DSRM password. And I typed it in wrong. And click next. That's fine. Click next. And then it should populate the DNS name here as child. This takes a little while. And then next. We'll use the standard default locations. Right. That also, we could have grabbed that script real quick there that we've done in the past. We could have grabbed the PowerShell script so we can kind of see what's going on in the background. It's going to do the prerequisite checks. Right. So we still have this cryptography, and that's one of the list items that we were going to look at. How do we get rid of that at a later date? But we'll do that separately. And then click install. So at this point, we should be installing the child domain that called child.usa.local on MBR2 cross-site, right, from one subnet to the other subnet. So once it got done with the installation, it went right into a restart. You can see that it's restarting. Once it comes back up, we will log in and check it out and see what's going on. In fact, while we're doing that, I think let's take a look. Let's go back over here now to DC1-1 and let's log into DC1-1 real quick. Ay, ay, ay. And I'm curious now, right? Because we have yeah, so look at this. Like, so from yesterday we did the trust. Remember we did the forest trust between Ireland and USAA. Now we have a two-way trust from child.usa local, right? So that's showing us that the trust that the child domain was built, that it is a separate domain, and that it's connected and set up to be trusted by the primary domain controller. I'm curious now if we go into right, domains and trusts, we should see the child domain underneath the primary domain, right? So that right there shows that we've got that done and it's working properly. Oh, excellent. So this over here should, once it gets done rebooting, we'll be in good shape. I don't think we need to finish any further than this as far as the assignment is concerned. If you have those domain trusts, you can look on both sides and look under domains and trusts, and you should be able to see this infrastructure on both sides, DC1-1 and member-2, MBR-2. You should see both of those on both sides, and you should be in good shape. I hope this helps. If you have any other questions, obviously, if you're in my class, obviously reach out. And if you're not, and you're seeing this on YouTube, you can comment below, and I can see what I can do to help out.